This is Daybreak here on Citizen TV. We like to start off our Mondays with a little bit of motivation. So joining me now, once again, Welly Odendo. Good to see you.
Good to see you in your new...
In our new space, right?
Apparel.
How do you like it?
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you so much for being here this morning. Remember, as we begin our discussion, you're free to go ahead and send any feedback that you have. You can tweet at Citizen TV Kenya at Joey_Mutengi using the hashtag Daybreak. So this morning we're talking a little bit about self-love, which I think a lot of people don't, get to that portion of their lives, really. We look after everyone else and we care about what's happening in our work life, and, little do we spend on ourselves.
Yeah, and maybe it's how adulting has been sold to us.
Come on now.
It has been sold to us as, it's sold as responsibility and responsibility and responsibility. And we don't know that the greatest responsibility is to ourselves. And once we neglect and abandon ourselves, soon and very soon we will try to get back as we get older, or as the people whom we allow them to own our moments of development, whether it's children, whether it's career. When they begin to move away from us, we begin to find the emptiness that was created in the years and time that we spent saying, I'm working, I've been busy, or my children are taking too much time. And so we never expect for that time to come where you'll be all alone, and then at that time is when you discover that you had really actually neglected yourself. You lived your life at the expense of others. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about how it is that when you're not taking care of yourself, when self-love is not prominent in your life, how does it manifest? How are we able to tell that, I haven't been worrying about me? Well,
one of the greatest symptoms of people who do not have what we'll call healthy self-love is it takes long to heal. It takes long to heal. It takes long to get over things. We can say, like, for those people who have conditions like maybe a terminal disease, a cancer of some sort, is that your body's immunity cannot get rid of either the bacteria or the virus, because it has so much been compromised, or the disease has so much attached itself to your system until it has cheated your system that it is part of the system. So it begins to eat off your food, it begins to eat off your nutrition, and that's the same way it is with the soul. If you don't practice healthy self-love, after some period you'll begin to discover that if you get to a heartbreak, it takes too long to heal from one, that by the time the next one comes in, he's going to pay for the last one who left. If somebody moves your toothbrush from one place to the other, it takes too long. If somebody sleeps on your bed, the grudge is so much, you are emotionally so attached to things, because that is a sign that you are not practicing healthy self-love. And that is just because your environment dictates your inner peace. Your inner peace does not dictate your environment. And so that is just the major sign. You just take too long to heal. Too long to heal.
That is very deep. I'm not thinking about my own life right now, but perhaps we can talk about what self-love actually is to someone watching. Like, someone might have the idea that self-love means I go for a massage. What is it definable? Is it something that we can say this?
Maybe we can put up some words around it, but I think it's more of cultivation. It's cultivating an environment where your inner voice is positive, affirmative, and complementary to you. If you don't cultivate that, many of us, we find that, as I said, it takes long to heal when self-love is absent. You find that some of us, when we make mistakes, we hit ourselves harder than the mistake. So hard. I should have known he was a dog from the word go, or I should have known she was a cat. Until you come at night and you're eating crepes and all your movies, and you're listening to Neo, I'm so sick, and you're listening to everything to just reinforce the bad choice that you made, because you cannot delink yourself from the bad choices that you keep making, because you've cultivated an environment that your inner voice is strongly judgmental, it's strongly accusative, and it's strongly opposing to you. That is just a sign that the person whom you have built inside you has become like a warden against you. But what healthy self-love does is that he cultivates within you a very positive voice within you, that even without a massage, even without going for swimming, there's a level of positiveness that you have about yourself, a level of feeling that I matter, I can contribute, I matter. And if you date somebody, or you marry somebody, or you work with somebody who does not have healthy self-love, you'll discover you cannot criticize. You become stubborn and erratic. You become hardly stubborn. You cannot allow other people's opinion to just flow without your control, because you always feel the environment must be the way you feel it must be, because consistently you're used to judging yourself. So whenever you see people doing things, you feel like I have to judge it. You can't just allow people to make their own mistake, learn from their own way, or your wisdom must not be sought for the earth to rotate or the sun to rise from the east. It rises. So, and then you find that this person lacks that skill, yeah. So it's not something that we can define, but we can just put a word, and that's why I use the word cultivate, meaning you have to be intentional about cultivating that sense. And so self-love is a fruit of self-talk. And so if you practice positive, affirmative, contributive self-talk, you will have cultivated an environment where self-love can blossom.
Because a lot of us have that negative narrative, like we've decided life is not fair, we've decided things don't go our way, and that's become our life. Our lives, yeah. Because that's how you view the world. And so it's sometimes difficult for people to get themselves out of that space once you've already talked yourself into it. Yeah, because
many of us, we don't know that silence ought to be a creative tool, but for some of us, silence creates a compulsion. Our minds, whenever we see silence, we hear boredom. And that's why many of us, we have our headphones on, we put on glasses so that the world appears green. We are trying to bombard ourselves with noise because our own voice is tormenting. Our own company is miserable. So we are trying to increase and bombard ourselves so that we can be able to enjoy the life experience. But silence ought to tell you, and that's why you should take moments of silence so that you can actually audit what's my actual state without the music. Without somebody, without me listening to Michael Bolton, do I feel loved? Without me listening to a motivational speaker, do I feel motivated? I ought to be able to generate, and that's why we talk, when you talk about inner healing, and healing is that you're able to generate your own treatment. You don't have to start like with surgery. Your body ought to be able to fight the initial causes of disturbance and disruption. But if you find that one moment of disturbance, you are thrown off kabisa, and then you come back, you roll back on this other side, then that just shows you're afraid of your own company. You're running from yourself, and silence torments you. And that is just a sign that this person does not have healthy self-love. And that's why we become addicted to looking for places to socialize, to increase the noise, because our own voice is tormenting us.
It's a difficult place to be when you're afraid of your own company. We're going to take a break here and look at some breaking news images that are happening at the Shell and Java.